What is going on, everyone? Before we get into today's video, I want to give a big shout out to A1 Comics for A1 Wednesday. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram. Their link is in the description below. They have live sales every Wednesday and Friday on the IG. Don't forget to check them out on Twitch every Thursday as well. And of course, they are on the Whatnot app. What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. Today, we're going to be looking at some major concerns that I have with the current CLZ app. Now, before I get into those concerns, I want to preface this whole video by saying I absolutely love the app. I've used it for I don't know how many years now. I have all of my close to 25,000 comics in my personal collection in this app. And at the rate that it's going, I'll probably never switch over. So I want to make that clear. But there is something that really needs to be discussed, and it has to do with the values that they brought into the app using Covrprice. Now, again, I am a paying subscriber, monthly subscriber of Covrprice. So I want to preface that as well because I appreciate so much what Covrprice brings to the table. But we're going to talk about this, folks. Before we get into it, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below to find out more ways that you guys can help support the channel as well. But let's get into it. So I have a bunch of screenshots that I'm going to be using today to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. But let's give a little bit of history. So over the last couple of years, CLZ has tried to incorporate values into their database app, but they used to use Go Collect for their values. Now, they stopped using them, I think, probably over a year ago now, and they recently did a deal with Covrprice to use. Covrprice is the entity that would bring in their data to value the books on their app. When I heard about this, I thought this was an amazing idea. To be quite honest, I do believe that, at least through my research and me using both Go Collect and Covrprice, I do believe that Covrprice's sales data is actually a bit more accurate than Go Collect. There's issues, there's errors in the calculated data that's brought in, etc., etc. But that that happens. I think Covrprice does their best to have accurate data all the time. So I was really loving this idea, especially as a fan of both sites. But when they finally linked up and I finally got my collection synced up to the values, and I went into the CLZ app for the first time and saw how much my collection was worth, I said, this doesn't look right. I have a lot of comic books with a lot of value, but this number was absolutely through the roof. And I said, this can't be right. This can't be right. So I started going in and looking at it. So let me show you guys right here on screen. We have my Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 pulled up in just a screenshot of a few issues that show up here, issues 130 to 136 down here. I want you guys to notice this right here where it has this little box that says fine $32, fine 31, etc., right? This little blue thing they do recognize keys, which is really awesome. This little box right here is the fact that it is a graded slab. I entered that as a 9.0, and then it gives the value of the slab. These values right here should be based on raw values, right? So let's go to this other picture here. We're going to come back to this. We're going to go to, let's go to this one first. So this is the book, Marvel Team Up number 33. That's probably in a very good grade. My book that I own. I entered it in just putting raw book and not putting any grade whatsoever. You can stipulate if it's graded, you could stipulate if it's raw, and you could put a grade to either or. I didn't stipulate a grade whatsoever, and it's defaulting this book to a 9.4. And I also believe it's defaulting it to a graded book, which is what this symbol means. At least I believe, and I'm going to show you why. My book is not a 9.4, even raw, and it's not worth $175 whatsoever. All right, now let's go back to this. See, so this one is defaulting to a 9.8. Look at this. Here it is right here. I put in this book is a 3.0, a good, very good. Oh, look, I did accidentally mark it slabbed, but I think I actually did that to prove a point here, because I think it was a hypothetical. If I had this book slabbed and it was a 3.0, it's defaulting its value to a 9.8. That is a problem, a huge problem. Now, here's another one. This is the an Amazing Spider-Man book that I have, the first appearance of Shocker. All right, this I put this in. It is a slab. I own it as a slab, so I highlighted slab, and it is a 0.5 because it's I believe it's has a cutout or something like that. It's a 0.5 pour. Look at what it's defaulting to. Even though it says this is what I have entered, it's defaulting to an 8.5 worth over $1,000, which is not the case for my book. This is a problem, a huge problem. Now, we can look at this book right here. This is one that I do have entered in as a very good, and I do believe that this is accurate. And look, it's not saying that it's slabbed. This is one that is accurate. It is a graded book in a 9.0 worth $375. But again, if we go back to this list here, and yeah, and this was another one that's not accurate. But if we go back and look at my Amazing Spider-Man list, I didn't put a grade into any of these. So it looks like it's defaulting Bronze Age Spider-Man books to being fine, and it's giving you the value of fine. And I noticed it as I went down in the in my collection. Like if you get into the 80s and the Copper Age, it looks like it defaults more of the books to a very fine. So this is a problem because let me explain something to you all. You can either scan in the books, and you can only do that with the newer barcodes that can scan, like from the around the mid 90s to modern books. You can either scan them in, okay? You can enter them in bulk, meaning you can, go to Enter Comics, you could pull up a run, and you can go to each of these and have a checkbox next to all of them. You could check, and enter them in bulk, and then submit, and now they're in your collection. And by doing that, you don't add any specifics. You don't pick a grade. You don't pick if they're graded or raw. You don't pick where you bought them at. You could go back in and do that later, but that takes a lot of work. I have almost 25,000 comic books in my app. Do you know what it would take for me now that these values are populating like this? It would take months, literally months, for me to go I would have to go into my collection. I'd have to pull each book out and assess the grade, the raw grade of each book, and enter the raw grade of each book to counter the default grade. Because I know most of these are probably like lower than a fine. So if I want to be able to use the values, the CLZ values, and look at my collection and in this database, the CLZ database, if I want to look at it and get an accurate evaluation of what my comic book collection is worth, I would have to spend days and weeks and months going back in there and pulling every single physical copy that I own, judging the grade, going back into the app and putting the accurate grade. But even still, even if I did that, a lot of them are coming up and defaulting to something else that I put in. This is a huge problem. So I'm going to reach out to both CLZ and Covrprice. I recommend that anybody who is experiencing this issue reach out to them too, because again, this video isn't to, pick up a pitchfork against either of these companies. I love them. I don't plan on ending my membership with Covrprice ever, and I don't plan on, it's a paid membership. I pay annually for CLZ. I pay it, and I'm proud to pay it, but this is a problem that needs to get fixed. And I do believe that if they are aware of this and that they understand what the problem is, that they are going to fix it. But I definitely want to let everyone know, if you guys are using the app, go into your collection and see if you are seeing similar issues that I am. Because again, this could be an isolated incident for me. I don't see how that necessarily could be the case, but you never know. So I encourage anybody to reach out to them. If you are using the app and you see these issues, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're seeing these issues, I want to know if I'm not the only one. And again, I will be reaching out to both companies to hopefully address these issues and see if we can come to some type of resolve. But I want everyone to know this closing statement. And I'm repeating myself, but I'm going to state it again. I love both of these companies. I'm not going to stop using them. This is not in any way me sitting here saying, don't use these companies because it's horrible because of these issues. This is me saying, I love these companies. Let's address these issues that are coming up and find some type of resolve because these are the best companies out there that I think any collector, big or small, no matter how you collect, could be using. With that said, folks, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Be well, and until next time.